Salut French students, bienvenue au vidéo 6 du chapitre 1. So the topic of today's video is le campus et le quartier. So we're talking about the campus as in the college campus. Le quartier looks like quarter, right? But it means neighborhood. So we're going to be looking at some vocabulary related to our college campus and the neighborhood that surrounds it. This first question here is qu'est-ce qu'il y a sur votre campus? Okay, there's a few pieces to look at there in that question. Okay, so est-ce que, as we just learned in one of the previous videos, is a way of asking a question. So, que, Q-U-E, the E is dropped here because it's connected onto est-ce que, is like asking what, but the est-ce que part, this part right here, is kind of what confirms that we're asking a question here. So, qu'est-ce que is like what. Il y a, this expression means there is or there are. So, what is there? Sur means on top of usually, but it's a way of saying on. Votre campus, on your campus. So what do you have on your campus? What's in the neighborhood around your campus? So sur le campus, il y a, on the campus, there is. And we have different places that we might see on a college campus. So in this presentation, we're mainly just talking about vocabulary. And in our next video, video 7, is when you'll actually apply this and make some sentences using that vocabulary. So we can form a sentence like, and I'll highlight this here so we know we're using this one. Il y a des salles de cours. Okay, what does cours look like to you? Probably a whole lot like the word course in English, right? So you can guess also by the picture that we're talking about classrooms. Il y a des salles de cours. Des, right here, this is kind of like a combination of de and les, and it means some. It's like of the. So we're talking about some classes on campus. Il y a des salles de cours. Et il y a une bibliothèque avec Wi-Fi. So there is a library. So the word for library is bibliothèque. There's another very similar word coming up over here, but it is not the same thing. So une bibliothèque avec Wi-Fi. Okay, of course we have that on Landers campus, right? Aussi, okay, aussi means also or in addition. Aussi, il y a des bureaux. So there are offices. Okay, in normal times, without a pandemic, of course, you can go and see lots of different people in their offices on a college campus. So, il y a des bureaux. Et finalement, okay, finalement is finally, or enfin is another way to say finally. Il y a une librairie. This one is a fun one to pronounce because it has two R's back to back. Those R's can be kind of pesky in French sometimes. I think it was last week's extra credit challenge gave you the opportunity to practice with French R a little bit more with kind of a fun video. If you haven't done it yet, go ahead and do it. Okay, so librairie, if you want to stretch it out and try to pronounce those R's. Okay, this looks just like library, right? This is a perfect example of what we call, I'll type it here, les faux amis, and that means false friends. Okay, or we can say false cognate, and that means it's a word that looks like one that we have in English. They look like they'd have the same meaning, but it's different. It's a bookstore in this case. So bibliothèque is library, librairie is the bookstore. All right, let's move on to look at some other parts of the college campus. Okay. Aussi, qu'est-ce qu'il y a sur votre campus? And again, we can say sur le campus, il y a des résidences universitaires. Okay, I'm sure you can easily guess what that refers to. Of course, on a typical American college campus, we would call them dorms or dormitories, but sometimes they're also called residence halls, so it's easy to recognize what this is. Des résidences universitaires. Et aussi, il y a un restaurant. Okay, so we can call that a restaurant. It's the same spelling, a little different pronunciation, but I've often heard this called le resto U, which would be like the university restaurant or cafeteria. You could call it either one of those things. Okay, aussi, il y a un stade. Okay, so this looks just like the English word for stadium, right? Ours is probably not that big at Lander, but you get the idea. Et il y a aussi des matchs de football, or des matchs de football américains. Yeah, we don't have football games at Lander's campus, but of course you find them on other college campuses. And we do have a soccer team at Lander, so you certainly could see un match de foot. Okay, le foot is soccer in French. Et finalement, il y a une salle de gym. Okay, we do definitely have that at Lander through the Wellness Center, so we certainly could say il y a une salle de gym au campus de Lander. Et enfin, le quartier. Okay, so we're going to describe here le quartier universitaire, so the university neighborhood. And actually that house does look a little bit like some of the houses around Lander's campus. So we can say dans le quartier universitaire, près de l'université. Okay, près means close to. So close to the university, there is, or there are, il y a des maisons. Okay, notice the nasal vowel pronunciation at the end of this word. Oh, oh. Okay, you can even see what happens to my mouth. It becomes pretty rounded and all of the sound is going through my nose or nasal cavity. So, il y a des maisons. Et il y a, oh, they're houses, by the way. Il y a une boîte de nuit. Boîte by itself normally means box. So you can imagine that une boîte de nuit is basically like a box of a building to go dancing. So you can kind of make the connection there. Et il y a finalement un cinéma de film, un cinéma des films, so a place where you can go see movies. Okay, so this video is really just meant to give you the vocabulary, just to be able to recognize the names for some of these different places. In our next video, that will be an interactive video, and that will give you some chances to actually talk about some of these places using the expression il y a. So until next time, à plus tard!